How's it going, guys? Austin back with another video. Today I have a haul of 5 fragrances that I am going to be reviewing. These ones are some decants that I picked off of DecantX. So since this video is probably going to run a little bit long, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. First, we're going to be taking a look at Mancera's Cedrat Boisé. This is the Intense Cedrat Boisé. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I did get a tester of the original Cedrat Boisé, and I really liked that one. I did notice a lot of similarities to Creed's Aventus, but we're going to go ahead and review it and see if it's similar to the original Cedrat Boisé in any way. So we're going to start with the opening off of a test strip. Go ahead and give her a few sprays. It is pretty similar to the original Cedrat Boisé, in my opinion. It's got a little bit of like an animalic tinge to it. It's a little bit darker. It's still fruity. It still definitely smells like Cedrat Boisé, but with a little bit, almost like a more mature touch to Cedrat Boisé. I do like that quite a bit. I don't know if I like it more than the original. It sits pretty close in my opinion. But overall, very nice off of the tester. I would easily give that an 8 out of 10 for the opening. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the dry down of the fragrance. The dry down, you get a little bit more of that darkness coming out. It's not quite as fruity as like it is in the opening. It's more woody, similar to the original. They kind of both follow a similar dry down in my opinion. I do like this dry down a little bit more than I think I like the dry down of the original. So for that, I'm probably going to give this one at least an 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty darn good. All right, up next, we are going to be talking about Lalique Encre Noir. This one is one that I've heard hyped quite often. A lot of people will call this one a masterpiece fragrance. So we'll go ahead and share a few sprays of Lalique Encre Noir here. That one is interesting. It's like, the best way I could describe it for those of you who haven't smelled this, it's like a earthy, like herbal kind of scent. It's almost like if you took pine leaves or, off of a tree and dunked them in water, like you steeped them like tea, and that scent of like what you get of like the tea smell is kind of how I describe it. It's very herbal. It smells like you're in a forest. Like not in a bad way. I mean, I enjoy it. However, if I'm being honest, it's not really my type of fragrance. It's not something I would gravitate towards. There's really no sweetness in it. It's very unique. It's got a very like high class to it. It's definitely going to be something that I feel like people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. There's not really an in-between with this one. And that opening is very medicinal. It's almost like too overpowering to some degree. I know a lot of people will say the opening of Parfums de Marly Layton is very medicinal, almost like Vicks Vapor Rub. This is like on steroids. It's not really the same smell, but it's very medicinal, like much more medicinal than Layton is in my opinion. All right, now we'll go ahead and smell the dry down on Encre Noir. The dry down, you still get a lot of that initial like pine tree, cypress tree kind of smell. But it definitely gets darker. You get a little more of that earthiness coming out, and it's not quite as medicinal off the top. The dry down to me is better than the opening. The opening's a little harsh in my opinion, but the dry down is a lot nicer. It's almost like a wintergreen gum is kind of how I would describe it, like an earthy wintergreen gum. I know that probably sounds weird, but that's the best, like where my mind goes to describe it. Encre Noir, in my opinion, the opening I would give a 6 out of 10 for me personally, and the dry down probably a 7. It's not my favorite, if I'm being honest. It's nice in its own respect, and I can appreciate a fine blended and well done fragrance, but it's not really my cup of tea. Next, we're going to be taking a look at Roja Dove Parfum. This one is Elysium Cologne. This one I've heard a lot of hype around. A lot of people have told me it's one of the best smelling blue fragrances you can get. And I mean, I'd hope so. The price of this stuff, it's not cheap. I mean, I think a 3.3 ounce 100 ml bottle is over $300. So it's not cheap. I mean, you could get bottles of Aventus cheaper than you can get this stuff. So let's go ahead and give it a spray and see what we think. Immediately, it's fresh, citrusy, aquatic. There's a lot of grapefruit in this opening. Like a lot of grapefruit to me. That's what really catches my attention right away. If I'm being honest, I am not really a big fan of that opening. Yeah, that compared, like, for the price that you're going to pay for a Roja Dove Parfums stuff, I mean, I would rather reach for YSL, you know, Y line for a blue fragrance versus something like this. And I get it, it's a niche fragrance, and niche fragrances, you know, are more unique. They're supposed to be higher end, better ingredients, all that kind of stuff. But this just doesn't really do it for me. I'm not really a big fan of that. I'd give that like a 5 out of 10. Now the dry down, hopefully it can redeem itself a little bit here, but we will find out. Funnily enough, it is a little bit nicer in the dry down. It actually leans slightly closer to smelling like the Encre Noir that we just smelled. I think that might be a little bit, if there's some like woody notes in the base of this, they might be coming out a little bit more to play. I do like the dry down better. I think I'm just not a big fan of grapefruit in general, and that grapefruit is really strong in the opening. So I would say, as far as the dry down goes, I do like it better. I would probably give it still like a 6 out of 10. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but it's tolerable. I do like that more than I like the initial opening of the scent. All right, up next we have Parfums de Marly. This one is Sedley. I've heard a lot of people hype this one up. Again, this is another really hyped up fragrance. This one is a lot of people's go-to niche summertime fragrance, and for good reason. This one's a lot of people's go-to summertime niche fragrance. I've heard it's really fresh, citrusy. I mean, it's their take on a blue fragrance, right? But like for summertime. So, I mean, I don't see what there isn't to like about this. It's fresh. There's a little bit of citrus in there. It smells like there's mint in there too. Mint seems pretty prominent. It almost reminds me of like like a little bit of the DNA of Eros, like Versace Eros, but like more fresh and a little bit more citrus in a niche way. And I'm not saying it smells anything like Eros, because it definitely doesn't. They're two pretty separate things. But I think there's mint and there's patchouli in this, and those two together really draws me to kind of thinking of Eros, which I love Eros, so I mean, I'm not going to complain there. Yeah, that's pretty good. I do like that quite a bit. There's almost like a little bit of a metallic-y note in there. I'm not sure how to describe it. That's kind of what I think of right away, is like almost like a metallic-y, watery, minty, fresh, citrusy kind of scent. I would give that at least a 7, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. That's pretty darn good. And now for the dry down of Sedley. Ooh, that's really nice. It stays pretty linear, but I feel like some of that freshness goes away and it gets slightly warmer, but it's still like fresh in its own regard. It's still fresh, aquatic. I think there's a little bit of woods that come out a little bit in the dry down. It's really nice. I do like that quite a bit. Yeah, that's really nice. I think that patchouli comes through a little bit more too. Yeah, I would give that like an 8 out of 10. That dry down's really, really nice. And last but not least, we have Valentino Uomo Intense. This one I have heard is really similar to Dior Homme Intense, which a lot of people say is a masterpiece date night manly fragrance. So hopefully this one lives up to the hype. Wow, that is phenomenal. Sorry, I want to talk. I want to keep smelling it. It's really, 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 really good. I love iris. We actually have an iris plant outside of my house, and any chance I get when I walk by that thing, I'm always smelling it. I really, really, really love how iris smells. And this definitely has iris in it. That is very prominent iris note. Oh my gosh, that smells delectable. That is easily 9.5 out of 10. I don't know if I would give it a 10 out of 10 because it's maybe something I could see. Since it is very strong, it might end up giving me a headache if I smell it too much. So I don't think it's one that I could keep going back to over and over again. And I also think that wear wise, you're probably not going to want to wear this one in really high heat summer situations. It kind of, in my opinion, leans more nighttime use in like kind of the cooler seasons, you know, fall and winter. Oh, but it's so nice though. I really, really, really enjoy that one a lot. And now let's go ahead and test the dry down. Dry down's pretty similar. That iris is still pretty present. It smells like the vanilla comes out a little bit more. And I think there's maybe some leather or something in there. That's adds a little bit of warmth to it. And a little bit of that kind of like manly, you know, classic men's cologne scent. This one's definitely just a quintessential like manly man scent. It's really nice though. I mean, I love how that smells. That dry down's easily a 9 out of 10 too. It's not too far removed. I do lose a little bit of that iris, which kind of knocks it down for me because I love iris, and that's the main focal point of this scent in my opinion. But it's still really, really well done. Fantastic scent by Valentino. I really enjoy that one. So as far as ranking these different scents would go, gotta give it to Valentino. That's my favorite one by far. The Valentino, I mean, that thing just really knocked my socks off. That stuff is phenomenal. I mean, I'm definitely gonna pick up a full-size bottle. Unfortunately, Valentino Uomo Intense is discontinued per Valentino's website, but I know online retailers and discounters like Joma Shop do carry it. I think it ranges about $90 to $110, give or take, depending on the site. But I mean, easily a 3-ounce bottle, a 3.3 ounce bottle is totally worth $100 in my opinion of that stuff. It's killer, and it's more of like a scent you're not going to be wearing all the time, so it'll last a long time for me. I might pick up a second bottle honestly, just because it is discontinued. And then I think second place for me, honestly, I probably have to give to Cedrat Boisé Intense. That stuff is pretty darn good. It's not too far removed from the original Cedrat Boisé, but I mean, it's just a little bit classier. It's a little bit more masculine. That little animalic touch is nice, but it's not super prominent where it really like ruins the scent for the modern person, because I know nowadays animalic scents aren't really quite as common as they used to be like back in the 80s. So I know, like, I think the modern man can still appreciate what they're doing with Intense Cedrat Boisé. So that one definitely gets second place for me. Third place I have to give to PDM Sedley. That one, I don't think I'm going to reach for it too often, but it's still a nice aquatic blue fragrance that I think really does. It's going to be pleasing. A lot of people are really going to like it. It seems like it has decent longevity too. So I think in those really high heat situations in the middle of summer, that would be a good dumb grab. You just put that one on, go, and you're going to smell great throughout the day. Then I would have to say my next choice would probably be Roja Dove Parfums Elysium Cologne, which is funny they call it Elysium Cologne, but it's an EDP concentration. It's not really an eau de cologne. So anyway, that one to me it's not my favorite. I like it, but I don't think I'm probably going to reach for that one too often. I might just so I can use the bottle, but I don't think I'm going to end up purchasing a full-sized bottle of that one. The grapefruit's a little bit too prominent, and it just seems like they're trying to do too many things. Like they're taking a blue fragrance, which is supposed to be a simple concept, and they're overcomplicating it because it's a niche thing. They're trying to make it more high-end. And to me, it's just got too much going on to be a really easy to wear blue scent. I'm sure a lot of people do appreciate it, and a lot of people own it and wear it and love it. But for me, it's just trying to do too much, and it's too grapefruit forward for me to really enjoy it. And then last we have Lalique Encre Noir. That's just not really my jam. I'm not a big fan of that one. It's too earthy, too medicinal. Like, it smells like you went up to a pine tree and just shoved the pine needles up your nose and a little bit of dirt. Like, I know a lot of people love it and it's considered a masterpiece, and maybe I'll appreciate it more as time goes on. But to me, that's something that really leans a little bit more like older gentlemen. Someone my age maybe won't appreciate it as much. And yeah, it's just not really my jam. I'm not really a big fan of that one, to be honest. It's good, but not really what I would personally gravitate towards. So again, I'll probably end up using that bottle, and then I'm probably not going to get a full size. If there's any of these scents you guys want me to do a full review on and just want to know more about, leave a comment down below and I will go ahead and get a review done for that scent. Anyway guys, that'll do it for this video. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, that whole thing. I will have another video out tomorrow. This time I think I'm going to be doing another one from my collection. I don't know which one I'm going to be doing yet, but it'll be a surprise for both of us when we get there.